Coffee time.
Hi.
Hi, coffee first. King. So today we have a special guest. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us all a bit about what you do?
Sure, I'm happy to. So, my name is Anida Westlake, and I am the president, co founder of ALW Health Enterprises Incorporated. And we help people prevent, reverse, or the worst case scenario, just manage their type 2 diabetes. It's all holistic. We don't deal with any medications, it's all natural. We're CDC certified, so we're certified with the Center for Disease Controls and Prevention in this field, as it's become literally a global issue. These numbers are soaring. It's over 1 in 3 will be affected by diabetes.
What do you think is contributing to that?
Well, obviously, it's lifestyle. Again, we deal in a natural way, very holistic. And as we teach you, we help you find your own path towards success because we don't know where any one person is on that scale of diabetes. And also their lifestyles, what they're going to gravitate towards, and what really and truly, what does success mean to them? So honestly, it's a hard thing to say. When it comes to type 2, you could take some dice, roll it and throw it on the table, and there could be many reasons on why. But that's part of the challenge, obviously, and that's what we help people uncover. The first order of business is always your intake of food and your exercise, how you're moving your body, how much are you moving versus how much you're taking in. Now, that's not to say that that's a miracle pill, okay? It's just tools that we use to help people find success. So that's the first order of business. And then there's other things that we have to start looking at. But as we develop or peel back the onion, you'll find out what works for you because ultimately we are individuals.
Yeah, yes. Like some people have emotional trauma and that's what they eat. Some people just have messed up hormones and that's what they eat. There are a whole laundry list of reasons. And if you eat too much for too long, and develops insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. Am I correct?
Yes, that's right. So, all right, when you take the course and you start to peel that back, you're going to learn about, how to create a healthy blood sugar, which we should all learn how to do. So you're going to learn how to create a healthy blood sugar. You're going to learn the importance of exercise and what that plays. Now, I don't do the exercise myself. That would be someone
Me
like you.
too.
That would be somebody like you. Absolutely. But as we help people document things, they're going to start seeing very soon where they need support, what's going on. And let's say you take that to the doctor. And the first
Yes,
thing they'll say is, how is your diet? How is your food? And they always say diet, your food and your exercise. And you can say, well, here it
exactly.
is. But I have noticed at these times, even though my food's the same, I'm experiencing this. Or here's what I've taken in for the last few months. And look, when you did my A1C, that's every 3 months, you can get a blood test to see what your sugar level has been like overall. You'll start to unravel a pattern. And if you don't have that instant success, you will soon find out why. Is it a hormone imbalance? Because maybe it isn't, or maybe it isn't enough to tip the scales, or is it your liver? Is there pressure in your liver? Like there could be a myriad of things that are going on, but at
Yes,
least this helps direct it precisely instead of playing the game of all these tests or scratching our heads thinking, but I eat healthy.
it
But do you
takes the
really?
guesswork out of it. And that is power.
Oh, absolute power. We don't tell people how to drive. we teach them how to drive. I'm using driving as obviously a metaphor, but
Yeah.
we teach you, we empower you, we help you every step of the way so that you can make your choices no matter what. Because life happens. You're out, you're at occasions, holidays happen, you have stressful times in your life. All of these things happen. We teach you and give you the skills and knowledge how to navigate through those things with the best success possible.
And, and so, how did you get started with all of this?
Well, I live with diabetes. I live with type 1, and I've had it since I was a child. So when I was diagnosed, we didn't have the tools that we have today, right? And so when I became very ill and I had had a cold, and I got over the cold somewhat, but I just became just really not well. And I started to lose a lot of weight. I was really, really thirsty. And this was over a period of time. First, it was thirst, then it was being tired. Then I really became very unwell, and I had a cold, and it just wasn't, I wasn't getting over anything. So my parents took me to the hospital because I had lost that much weight in emergency. And I can remember them, the curtain around the bed, and you can only hear little bits of conversation. And my father was quite upset, and he said, "Well, what's going to happen now?" And I heard that, and the doctors mumbled something, and then came through, and he said, "We're going to have to give you something, and I'll give you a fighting chance." And I looked at him, and he came back in with a needle, and he gave me an injection in the arm. And then they rushed me to an ambulance. Now I was by myself. My parents weren't allowed for some reason to come with me. And I went to a specialty hospital for children. And, got me in there, all the IVs, a lot of buzz around me. And I thought I was dying. I truly thought I was dying.
Yes,
So
and
and it's scary, right?
yes, and that's a bad experience for anyone, but especially a child.
Well, because I really, I had no idea what was going on. So I was afraid to go to sleep. And then, of course, exhaustion, I fell asleep and I got up. I was awake the next day and I thought, okay, I'm awake. And then another day passed. And I think it was about the third day, they got me out of bed and put me in a wheelchair with the IVs, took me down to the nurse's station and wheeled me onto a scale, a huge scale. And they weighed me.
Yes,
And I remember there was a board at the nurse's station and I saw my last name, Westlake, and a number beside it. And it wasn't a little number. I think it was 15 or 1800. Now, if you know anything about diabetes, I was lucky I was alive, really and truly, but you tip the scales at, let's say 130, 150, and there's all of these margins that we go on, whether you're pre-diabetes or we used to say borderline diabetes. So I was way up there. Anyways, took me back to my room. Still nobody said anything that I'd be okay. A day later, they took me back down and I was much better. So I could walk this time and I sat at a desk with these other children at the nurse's station
yeah,
and they put this little pad in front of us and it had a glass syringe, a needle head, and a bottle and some alcohol swabs.
mm,
So I thought, okay, well, I guess they're going to give us a needle. I don't know what's going on here. So then they said, okay, let's get your hands. We had to put alcohol in our hands. And then I want you to pick up the needle and screw what it's called a needle head. And they were telling us all these things. Now take this bottle and put it on top and pull back. And Anita, your 10 units and Charlene, your 5 units or whatever it was in our units.
yes,
Make sure there's no air bubbles. Now everybody hold it. And I can still remember to hold it like this. Now click, no air bubbles. Okay, so we did all that. Now put your arm up behind the chair and you're going to put this needle in your arm. And I said, I'm going to do what? She said, you're going to put a needle in. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, you have to do it. Everyone's doing it. Now come on. They didn't give us a chance to really take it in and cope. It was just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. So of course I dropped the syringe, the plunger. So we did it all over and so did everyone else. We did it again. And then she came over and helped us individually so that we didn't drop the plunger, got it into our arm and pushed it down. So
yeah,
that was that. We all did it. And so I piped up and said, okay, so that's it. Why do we have to learn that? And
Mm,
she said, because you have to do it for the rest of your life. And I said, what do you mean the rest of my life? Well, you have to do it every day for the rest of your life. And I said, will I be all right? And she said, yes, you should be all right if you do that every day.
mm,
And that was it for me. I thought, okay, it was a coping mechanism that set in that said, all right, I'm going to be okay. And if that's all it takes, that's what I'm going to do. But of course, there's much more to it, right? I
yes,
quickly learned the intake of food, exercise, and all these things on our body overall that really helps us create a stable blood sugar and the importance of it,
exactly.
right?
And
So we can all do it. I did it as a child,
yes,
and it was a journey and it was ever learning, but that is life.
exactly. Like most people just want a band-aid quick fix. No. That's why all the diet pills and things like Ozempic and such, and they're tools, but people don't see them like that.
No, no. It's so funny that you say that. It is a tool. So insulin, it's pharmaceutical, but it is a tool. It helps us, navigate our sugars, which is vital. From head to toe, it's
Yes,
vital. But there's all these other tools that we had to learn to manage. So when it
yes,
comes to type 1's an autoimmune disease. So our immune system kills off our beta cells that produce insulin. And type 2, a whole bunch of other reasons. It's not an autoimmune disease, but the lifestyle is the same.
yes. And they often have a high sugar intake for prolonged periods of time. So the body just gets sick of responding to the insulin. That's why it's insulin resistance.
That's it. It's very interesting when you get into all these factors. There's a large correlation between weight and type 2 diabetes, but I
Yes,
can tell you for a fact, I've had many people come to me and all, even in the different talks I've had in hospitals and other locations, and there are a lot of people that are, I would call them slim, and if not slim, actually fit. So you don't know your why all the
yes,
time. It's not just one reason, it could be many. Even if it's just genetic for whatever reason, okay,
yes,
they'll quickly uncover that. But here's the thing, once you take the program, no matter where you are, you will achieve success. And again, however that looks to you, you might be able to not tip the scale, pull it back, right? You pull it back to a normal state, but that doesn't mean you don't keep those good habits in line,
yes,
right? You might be able to get off insulin, which would be my goal for everyone, or get off metformin or
yes,
whatever medication you're taking. But
exactly.
weight is an issue, but it isn't the only one, right? And never mind, look at all the health risk, all the health elements that have to
Yes,
do with our lifestyle that are also, you're putting yourself in a less risk zone of heart disease, stroke,
yes,
gallbladder, all kinds of things.
exactly.
And that's a pivot. So if you find, okay, so I have my sugars under control, but maybe heart disease might run in your family. Well, now you can pivot and adjust that ever so slightly, and it's only slightly, and you're going to know how to eat properly, with the power
Yes,
of the exercise, all of those things,
I
which is a
like.
wonderful thing.
Yes, I liken it to a boat rudder. It's a tiny piece of wood, mm, but if you tip it just slightly, it moves the whole big ship in a new direction.
Very true. Wow, that's absolutely, absolutely. So there is we have so much power over our lifestyles, but we're constantly told that you have to do this, you have to do that, or a quick fix will do it. And we're always chasing something. What is it? There's a saying, and I'm going to butcher this slightly, but man will spend a lifetime making money, creating wealth, and then he can spend all that wealth trying to achieve health.
Exactly. And how about we start with health and then worry about the wealth?
Or
Right?
balance the two. Have respect on both
Yes,
ends because it really is,
exactly.
you are nothing without health.
Exactly. So, Anita, where can people go to find you and your program? When are you offering?
So there's a few things we offer. We like the signature to start with. It's a foundation where you really get into the nuts and bolts of things, and that's 90 days. Now, are you going to see success before 90 days? Well, yeah, you are. But really, you have to implement these changes. We're here to help along the journey as you learn, as you implement it, and get good habits, right?
How quick are people going to see results? Because we live in an instant gratification culture. You and I talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
It
Well,
doesn't happen overnight.
no, it depends on what it is. So first of all, if you follow the guidelines and what we teach about the intake of food, your first success will be better blood sugars. Now,
Yeah,
does that show up on the outside right away? No. No. It may in little ways. It depends again where you are. Will it show up? Does it mean you're going to lose 50 pounds in a month? Of course it doesn't. But every day you will have success. The first order of business, including a healthy weight loss that is sustainable, will be good blood sugars,
yes,
right? When you're struggling with blood sugars, people don't realize the effects it has on you. And part of maybe even your overeating is the imbalance of your blood sugar alone.
yes,
So a lot will get cleared up in a shorter period of time. Will you see it on the outside right away? No, you won't. Your inside will start to ooze from into your outside, which will be a much better picture. When your
yes.
insides are good, your outsides will start to glow.
That's physiology in a nutshell.
That's it. And that's exactly, I mean, the CDC has spent, this is data gathered for over 40 years, and they're the world leaders in trying to prevent diabetes.
Complexity.
Right now, we're in some scary times, as you know,
Yeah,
just since the pandemic, really, when you think about it. So, the one thing that there's a push with diabetes is the potential lack of insulin due to supply chain, interruptions, whatever it could be. They've had a fear of this for quite a few years, at least 7 for sure.
yes,
And so they're trying to get people, like, if you don't need insulin, let's pull it back. Let's get people off that. We don't
exactly.
want, if you don't need to be on it, please, you can do something about it. And once you're on insulin, do you really want that volatility? Because it does help you. I mean, I take it every day. I'm thankful for insulin. But what it does is it means you have to manage high blood sugars and know the right amount of insulin to take, and low blood sugars when you may have taken a little too much. And it's not even that all the time. It could be a little more exercise, it could be hormones, it could be stress, it could be all kinds of things. How do you know? So
Exactly.
we teach people no matter where you are, you're going to know.
Perfect.
Sure. And if people want to look at the website, it's alwhealth.com. So it's www.alwhealth.com for more information. I have a free Facebook group, and it's right at the
That's
top of the website.
wonderful.
Push that and learn.
Good stuff. Where else can people find you? Just Facebook and the website. Is that good?
Well, my website has a Pinterest account at the top. It's got Instagram. It'll take you to Instagram. It'll take you to my LinkedIn, and I believe I have X on there as well. So,
Nice.
or you find me on X on my name, Anida Westlake. So
Yes.
please, I give out lots of free information, and I'm very excited to help people. We really have to do something about these numbers.
Yes. Thank you again. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Bye
I'm so
bye.
excited to have been on your show. It's great
Thank
stuff that you're
you.
doing.
Thank you.